And today on Off Topic, you get to hear the story of how we had our little Ember. And this is our welcome back episode. So, welcome back. And welcome back to Off Topic with Jason and Amanda. We are so happy to be back. If you are not figured it out by now and you follow me on X and at Real Jason Nelson on X, and you're aware we obviously had a baby in the last 2 weeks. And as we've been mentioning, we were going to pre-record some episodes so that you didn't have to watch a bunch of reruns. In the process, we've not only are at patriot.tv, but we've also moved over to streaming at each day's show at 7 p.m. Eastern time on X, as well at Real Jason Nelson, and of course it will be at Off Topic Studios, which you can go to and watch it, which would be great. And we're happy to be back and happy to have you back. But we've had an addition. We told you that was going to happen. We told you we weren't faking the ginormous belly that was on my wife. I'm sorry, that's a wrong way of putting that.
That was rude.
Yes, you're right. I shouldn't say it that way. The overinflated beach ball of a belly that was my wife, with legs and arms attached. She looked like the girl that ate the
From Willy Wonka.
Yeah, they ate the chewing gum and got all of the meals, right? And you ended up getting to the blueberry pie part, except for you didn't turn blue, right? So you're holding our newest baby.
Yeah.
And I said,
hungry.
Is she hungry?
Yeah.
Are we literally going to do this like right now? That's you're going to be the like 10th woman in history to ever just say,
Yeah,
I'm going to
highly,
breastfeed.
highly doubt that.
You highly doubt that you're the 10th person to do it?
I'm sure there are several people.
Oh, there's probably like a
done
whole podcast dedicated to it. Whip them out or something
Probably.
like that, you know? Whip them out before the baby shouts. I'm not really sure what the slogan should be because I'm a guy and it's going to come across as really awful. So I won't do that.
No, don't.
But we have so much to talk about. I feel like everything that we sort of led up to. So how we ended up with the name Ember, who I think it's because she sat in the oven a bit longer than we expected and smoldered. Right. And yeah, she's beautiful. Came out 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Tell us what we've won.
Hi.
Oh, you're just going to stare at the baby. I was waiting for you to jump in and like say something about the baby.
I mean,
like, oh, I'm happy. Anything.
well, I was gonna say, it's rude to share a woman's weight, and you just did that.
I never said
her.
anything. Oh, for her? Oh, it's not rude to share a woman's weight. They have entire careers built around that at carnivals. Right? They wouldn't make it a career if there was something wrong with it.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, they don't make chemical weapons, guys, just for... Oh, wait, that's bad. Maybe there is something to that. Just because the job exists doesn't mean it's a good thing. Oh, what a thought. So, this was different. We don't have a plan going into the show to talk about it, but I thought, you want to do a recap of what happened?
No.
A play-by-play in excruciating detail. No, I mean, it's a big deal. Not only did we add a child, which, as Jim Gaffigan so famously said, having 4 children is like drowning in the ocean, and having 5 children is like drowning in the ocean and someone hands you a baby.
Yep.
And we went back to school this week. We started homeschool back. Well, it was 2 weeks ago, but you get my point. And we just did all this at once. And, it's insane. But the experience, I would say it was so much more different than the last 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought, for those who don't know, we did what is it called exactly?
Out of hospital, natural water birth.
Wow, that's a lot of hyphens.
Yeah.
Wow, I definitely was going to say that wrong. I'm glad you stepped in. I was just going to be like, so we went to this tub and she pooped out a baby. That's where we're
I
at.
don't think it works like that.
No, That might be the wrong medical terms. I'm not 100% sure. Still haven't watched the
Mm,
video. No, so so we went overdue, right? A little bit, not a lot of bit, just a little bit.
yeah.
What were we at when you finally popped?
40 weeks, 6 days.
40 weeks? That's it?
I mean, like a few minutes before she was 41 weeks, I
That is
guess.
true, yeah. But no, I mean, I keep forgetting, yeah, because 42 weeks would have meant that we had to go to the hospital, and we were doing everything we could to avoid that.
Depends. Yeah, some people go past that. Some people don't want to let that happen. So,
Right. So, but in this instance, our midwifery had decided that that was the deadline. So you started your actual program. It was pretty awesome. First, beyond the walking and other things and climbing stairs, um, we
stairs.
right.
Those are not stairs.
What
Those
were
are
they?
like some sort of torture device.
Mid 1800s torture device put together.
The railing was like the steps get higher from the next one, like the further you go up. And then the railing at one point was like I was holding above my head while going up the stairs.
Oh, no, I saw those stairs.
Yeah,
Most
it's
definitely,
insane.
if there was a priest that had just performed an exorcism and needed to destroy the demon inside of his body,
No, I've been
he
on
could.
those stairs before.
Right, but I'm saying, but
It was worse than those. More not worse, more
there's more stairs. It's
and just
steeper. No, this was
way
steeper.
more difficult.
Which one was way more difficult?
This one.
Right. So
The
that's what I'm
exorcist
saying.
stairs are just stairs.
Right, but I'm saying this would qualify as the type of stairway that one who was possessed after just recently performing an exorcism and a self-sacrifice might, at those level of archaic stairs. I did notice that it feels like at some point somebody just got lazy at the top. They're like, listen, people could just step higher. This is rock, man. I'm not carving any more of these.
Yeah.
Or they started it like a normal sized person, and then Jethro came in. Some dude who was like 6'9", and they had him go up and start making the steps. He's like, "What's wrong with all of you making these tiny little steps? These are normal steps. I can go
Yeah.
up there."
Notice at the bottom it looks like normal steps.
I noticed by the time we got up I brought the kids up the first layer. I can't climb stairs.
That's why when I got to the first like resting point, I was like, probably not a good idea for them.
Right. So that's the place we're gonna stop at, and we did. And I mostly because it got steeper,
Yeah.
like even by then. So yeah. Anyway, so we did that, and we went on long walks in the park, literally, and then and you went into like labor, like we hit enough. There was nothing. I didn't get my moment. There was no grab the bag, get in the car.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
all just like, hey, go take a nap. They called us. They're like, take a nap. Come in at this time. We went in. It was just so casual. It wasn't even like, do you have the bag? It was like, do you have the bag? No. Oh. Do you want to go get it?
Did you
Sure.
want more stress?
Right. No.
and
I
all of
just,
that,
I
or-
didn't want more stress. I wanted a high speed pursuit. Wait, that wouldn't be a pursuit. That would be just a high speed run. Cannonball run to the baby. I wanted to be able to panic and tell the police officer that I had to drive 95 miles an hour through that school
in the
zone.
construction
Yeah.
zone.
I meant construction zone, not school zone. There's a school zone right over there, but it wasn't open at that time. But we went, and I said, so we went in there, and the thing we talked about, we did it. It headbands, wristbands, whistles.
Unitard.
You had a unitard. You looked like a sperm whale doing your exercise. We went through it. They didn't believe we were going to do it, and we did it.
Yeah.
But it was very high energy in the beginning. And then you didn't progress as quickly. So everybody was like, well, maybe she should go home. And I was like, or she could just lay down and everybody could stop staring at her. Because right now she has 6 different people checking on her. And we took a nap. Right?
Yeah.
I think that was about where we were. We had our oldest daughter, Danger, with us. 8 years old. she was comfortable sitting out there reading and just being a part of it. And then, she was so helpful. She was, by the way, just such a champ.
Yep.
I don't want to use that word lightly because I'm going to say the same thing about you. But for an 8-year-old, she was a champ about the whole thing.
Yep.
Like she was just totally on board with it, helpful, talked to you, listened, only photo bombed like 10 times. It was great. But, she was there and we all laid down and took a nap. And I remember they said, the birthing center said, well, about 8:30 probably. And then the doula was like, hey, how about 9:30? And I was like, 9:00. And what happened? Yay, I was finally right about something.
Yay.
And it was such a different, like the vibe was just
So different.
so different.
In the best way.
Yeah, we put on some spa music and you just sat there and like somebody performed Reiki on you while no, I'm just kidding. But you were stretching and all of that. And it was just, I remember when it was 11:00 was when you finally, but there was a point where you got in the bathtub. It was so relaxing. It looked relaxing. Other than the contractions.
And the squeezing the spiky balls.
Yeah, you were
that
squeezing.
looked like
But you didn't cry out in pain. Men have seen too many movies. We're just used to hearing the 1960s woman screaming in the, oh dear God, I'm giving birth. And you weren't.
I was giving birth, but I wasn't.
Yeah, but you were just so relaxed about it. Do we need to address this real quick? Do we need to put up a card and then come back in 1 second? That we got to do?
I don't know.
Okay, let's do that real quick. We'll go to a card. It's time to feed the baby.
Okay.
We'll make that the card.
Lunchtime.
Oh, little guys, it's time to make the donuts. And we're back. And right now you are making television history.
No.
Okay, right now you are making Walter Cronkite blush in his grave. Is he dead? Oh, good. Okay, he's in his grave blushing. You've changed TV forever.
Sure.
We'll
go with that.
One small feeding for man. I don't know what to say. Anyway, it's a big deal to me. I think it's awesome. I think that as a dad, as I've kind of gone along, I know it's the whole miracle of birth. I'm saying it like the whole miracle of birth. No, that was sort of we're having a baby the first time, and by the third time you're more heavily involved. And now it's just, after going through everything we did with Tempest and then coming into Ember, it was such a change. It was just, it has the viewpoint of every little detail to me, the things I've learned because I started paying attention at your OB appointments, that I've learned about the miracle of the female body, how your organs have to return to normal at the end, all that stuff. Anyway, so that the experience to me was definitely more like everything, including the fact that you're able to feed our children, like that's amazing to me, and that it's healthy for you, right? It's a great way to keep your body healthy after giving birth. So anyway, the point is, you're amazing.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You represent all women to me. So where we're at right now, basically, is that so we're at the hospital. We're going through all this, and I just said during the card break, I'm not afraid to say this, but I think that a lot of people maybe don't understand what we're saying. Oh, it's such a huge difference. I think.
Well, it's not just that experience that was different. It was the way we were treated the entire time. Like, they treat you like an individual human, not patient number, whatever.
Not a insurance ID number.
Right.
Right. That's yes.
And they explain everything before they, do anything. I don't know. It was just like
Yeah.
they talk to you like you're a person.
I think that it's weird to me that this sort of used to be like the hippie movement. You know what I mean? Go back to natural birth. And then, it's obviously many conservatives are going back to it. I think because we're realizing that we're kind of money pits to the medical establishment. And one of the first things that stood out to me was the entire time, but especially at the end, and I want to skip ahead, but when I say the end, like after the baby was born and we're sitting there and they're like, okay, time to go. And then we come home and you're just like, it's 3 hours afterwards. And then we just slept, you fed the baby, you slept, and it was nobody coming in and bugging you, nobody harassing the baby, nobody, it's just such a different experience. But across the board, the lack of medical equipment, the lack of people dying 3 floors below you,
Yeah.
as far as I know, and the lack of, that'd be a sub basement, but I don't know, Waco.
Be a really deep basement.
Yeah, but maybe they drowned. But the idea is that, it was not it didn't feel clinical in any stretch of the word, nor did I feel at any point that there was any medical. And again, this might be a unique experience. So I encourage all women and families who are considering it to, obviously talk to them yourselves. But in your circumstance, I felt like your health was always primary, but at the same time, you're just over treated at the hospital. You know what I mean? It's just everything. You had an antibiotic and then something else, like, whatever.
That was it.
No, that was it. And then that's it. And look at you. You're still healthy.
I know.
How'd you do
Crazy.
that? But I think the environment had a lot to do with, like, say, having a natural birth in a hospital.
I feel like even that would be completely different.
Right. Because when our oldest son was born, it was at a new hospital, and they had birthing suites for that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't encourage it. They just had it available because it was a swanky hospital. Not our choice, just the only hospitals where we were stationed. But when you look at that and you go, wait a minute, why was it important that we did that? It was because we'd obviously had such a horrible experience with Tempest. But in general, before that, and you've kind of expressed this, it's just like they treated you, they wanted to push you to have that baby. Not for the health of the baby, not for the health of you, but because, we got
to get you in and get you out.
Yeah. Oddly enough, you gave birth in probably the fastest amount of time, or close to it, because you can't count when they give you Pitocin.
Right.
But it's the closest probably the shortest labor into birth, active labor into birth that you've had.
Yeah.
3 hours versus your first one, which was like 48 hours when they induced, right? So I just think that whole attitude towards letting your body, did you feel that it was sort of just, do you, at some point because we haven't really talked about this, but did you feel like your body was just kind of taking over?
Oh yeah. It's I don't know like how much to talk about on here.
I don't think, we can edit it out if it gets super weird.
Just the difference between having medication and not, like, it was just weird realizing that, I don't know how to phrase this, like my body just knew what to do.
And that makes sense.
And
you could feel it
without the
time.
intervention of any sort of Pitocin, epidural, whatever, it like you could feel the difference between.
You mean like you could feel your body adjusting and just naturally?
Like if I, it's weird to talk about without like
Use medical terms and people don't feel weird about it.
I don't know how to do that either.
Oh, okay. Well, skip past it and I think we'll get the rough idea of what you mean. Yeah, it's okay. Don't make yourself uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You can tell the difference between the
Do you mean
two,
like
and it's not in a bad way. Like most people would think, oh yeah, well, you can feel the pain. So, but I mean, yeah,
well,
duh.
they use a
But
word that, another word that's been just, you can't even use it properly, but they call them transitions, right? And so you go through the various phases and they just say your body is transitioning. And it's funny
well, there's a
because,
phase called transition, which is
right,
hardest.
right.
Mhm.
But that's when the baby's like quite literally moving and twisting and moving into the
Hey.
out, right? But I think that when it's said prior to, because like you said, you'd had the epidural and the Pitocin and all that. When they talk about it beforehand, it's kind of this, you're going to and you just think of it as just they're using a word. But while it was happening, I remember you talking to me, and you were talking about the actual physical changes you could feel happening. That you could feel what your body was doing.
Without it, like without me being an active participant,
Right, right, just on
it's just
autopilot.
like my body doing its thing.
Yeah, I hate to be this way, but I was like, it's like a cat. Like, you could just tell that your body. It was just like the cat. At some point, just nature takes over. It's like, I don't know what's happening. If I think I'm having a baby, well, this is happening. What is that? But you know, your body just kind of. I want to use the word properly, but kind of melted into a mold, if you will. You know what I mean? Like where it just sort of just knew what was supposed to happen next. And then it fell down to the next stage. And it was amazing to watch because I really felt like whether it be the combination of the lack of stressors, the clinical environment, sterile environment, all of those things, that without all of those things, you seemed so much less stressed so that even when I'll say tougher moments, the larger contractions happened, it was, you managed it. I mean, I'm not bragging, but not once did you cry out in pain. Not once. And you only swore once. Everybody commented on that. Everyone said, like, you were just so at peace. And I think that even more than the average bear, because of your experience. I mean, so I want to describe part of it, okay? No, don't worry. I'm not going to get like super descriptive here. Okay.
Okay.
So her breathing was like this. No, so that's not how you were breathing. You were and then squeezing these balls that
That
were
looked like what's it called? A morning star?
yeah, they were like little morning stars that you were squeezing to help take they're on your pressure points on your hands.
Yeah, those were awesome.
Yeah. And but there was when you gave birth, like actually the baby went through the transition stage and he gave birth, which was probably the longest 30 seconds of the experience. The baby comes out, and I've told you this already. Sorry, my throat is just, ugh. Dave, get ready to mute this out later. Ready? Okay. Thank you. So, but you were over the tub and I was there, and I remember specifically because I told you that you could bite me on my wrist if it was too much.
You had a sweatband.
Because I had the sweatband on. And you did, and you punctured my skin still, which was pretty crazy. But that was the final push. So I was right there. And the main reason I didn't get in the tub with you during that point was quite frankly logistics. Okay. I still don't work properly in my hip area, and then, getting in this hub with you was not going to happen
I
at
could
that
not have
moment.
helped you in or out at that point.
Right. If something had gone wrong, right, if we started playing hot potato or something, like I would have been useless at that point, right? So, but you gave birth, and from the way you were positioned, which I mean, again, it's just natural childbirth stuff, but you're leaning forward and you gave birth and you pooped out the baby. And that's a technical medical term.
Not
And
how it works.
you passed it, they pass it under your leg. So, for those of you who are too squeamish to understand how childbirth works, a baby is attached inside. How it gets its nutrients is through an umbilical cord, and that's attached to a placenta. You're not even going to say a medical term like that.
Just
So,
waiting for you.
right. So, the baby comes out first, right? Um, it's out of its birth sac. We were kind of hoping that the baby was going to come out in its birth sac. They said there was a chance because your water didn't break, right? And then, like, at the last second, your water broke.
Yeah.
Quitter. But they were saying, like, oh, there's a chance the baby, and that would be amazing because you can see the baby inside. We've seen videos about it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just a weird thing, like they were doing a surgery. And I'm like, oh, I had no idea the baby can be born like that. And it's still attached to you. Now, obviously, your body wants to, pump as much nutrients out of that, squeeze out the placenta, which is basically, it's an organ you grow, which is insane, and then get rid of.
Yep.
Women are so wasteful. They're like, I want
Temporary organ.
like, I want next season's placenta. This season's so blasé. Floral prints are not
Oh my
in.
goodness.
But you go through this. So the reason I'm saying that is the baby obviously comes out and there's still an umbilical cord. And they had told us this 90 times. I'm not using the word 90 twice, but they told us a good amount of times beforehand to warn us that 90% of babies come out with the umbilical cord around their neck. Now,
Don't quote him on the 90%.
but it was pretty high.
Yeah.
They said 9 out of 10. But Dave, you're going to have to go weigh in on this. As a guy who watched movies and looked at it from the perspective of probably a protector, like even as a younger person, if you watched a movie, your only perspective on watching a baby is that. So when you saw a drama, medical, and they'd say the umbilical cord's wrapped around the neck, hurry up, right? That's like a danger zone thing you're told in your head. Am I incorrect or?
Yeah, in the movies, it's always portrayed as, oh, that's a big bad thing. We have to hurry and rush.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously you've had children since then, so you know. But to me, that was like even mentally prepared for that. I was not mentally prepared for that. Okay. I've cut enough umbilical cords. I know what they are now. It's not weird, right? So I know what it is. But that said, the baby comes out and I look down and I was overcome by two emotions at once. So already, I'm so proud of you. You're just a champ. Okay. Danger stepped out right at that moment. She like left at that moment. It was too much for her, right when you were about to give birth. No, she stuck around for a tiny bit and then she had to walk out. But then you gave birth and the baby was passed underneath your legs and the umbilical cord is around the neck. So my brain, there's three things that happen. One, I'm obviously caught up in the moment of this happening. Is she right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But there's this miracle moment where you're looking down and the baby's being passed through by the midwife and her eyes are open. She's underwater. She's never taken a breath. And I can see that. And it was so joyous, but I saw the umbilical cord around her neck. And it was so much at that moment of fright and panic that I had to put my head down and like take a second and wait for them to unwrap the baby and hear the first breath. Like I needed that. And then I could sort of absorb. And it's the most miraculous thing I've ever seen is her eyes open, and it was so different than every baby born before. She was right with us. You don't cut the umbilical cord till for like, I don't know how long. Feels like birth time is a weird zone. So it could have been 15 minutes. It could have been an hour. But
Yeah,
the
it's
point
just
is
whenever
it
it's
stops
ready.
pulsing. Yeah. But I immediately jumped in the tub with you. Not like flopped in, but I sort of did.
Like a fish.
Yeah, so just like a fish with a hip replacement. Just fell right in. Um, uh, thank God he got wet. But I jumped in, and it was just amazing the moment. And I felt for us, and I don't want to take away any of your possible talking points on this issue, but and I think you might concur. It felt sort of like a car wash. It just washed off everything that had happened before. All of the negativity around Tempest birth, all of the anxiety around that. Well, obviously, not all of our anxiety about a lot of things because we're well aware of what's happened. But for this and around that issue, and then we got to just go lay on that old Victorian bed, and where you bled. Recovered. I don't know what word they want to use, but 3 hours later, we were in the car and home. That's it. We were there for a total of 9 hours. Within 6 hours of your active labor starting, we were on our way home. Yeah. 9 o'clock. We were home by 3.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So the time we would have gone in there had we gone home, which was dumb. They were like, relax. You should go home so you can relax. I was like, no, we can stay here. That's where she'll relax. Have you not seen the children? They're wonderful kids, but we have a lot of them. And they need your attention. But we stayed there, and then, but I look back and I'm like, wow. 6 hours from the time that you called for the doula to the time that we were back in our house. And that's such a different, like, I felt safe. I didn't feel, there was a weird thing, where I kept looking up, waiting for a doctor.
Yeah, I kept waiting for somebody to, like, tell me what to do.
Like you need instructions on it. Yeah. Feed them, change them. Yeah.
The instructions are just, chill till you're ready.
Yeah. So I felt it was super cleansing.
Yeah, me too.
And I thought the experience itself, and again, may not be for everybody, but if you are thinking about it, it's worth the tour.
If you've had any sort of birth trauma.
Yeah.
I can't speak to physical birth trauma, but
and medically, obviously, it's not for everybody.
Right.
But I would say that if I were somebody who had already gone through the experience of a hospital birth and had some hesitancy about that, if I had some hesitancy about how we were treated as individuals, and you can afford it or your insurance covers it, I would encourage people to explore it. I think that...
Especially out of hospital.
Yes. I mean, I wish that we just had separate birth centers in general. Like, there's no reason that...
like separate from the hospital. And
right.
Yeah.
Look, if you want to do the epidural and all of that, I understand it, okay? I understand after 5 children now why you went through this and why it was better, but you even said that it was... I mean, you may not have shown it, but it was the hardest thing you've ever done.
Oh, yeah.
So...
But that's not necessarily the physical pain or anything. It's mentally staying present and dealing with everything and just...
So focus and just being able to... Did I help?
Mm-hmm.
I think what was the thing I was doing at the end? I can't remember. It's like singing 90s pop songs to you.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
It was like 90s pop rock. And I was just like quietly saying the words to you, the lyrics. I think I remember this. It was something that I said, should I shut up? And you went, no. And I just kept doing it. And I was like,
You
whatever.
were trying to distract me, and whatever it was worked.
Right. It
But-
might have been like Radiohead. I don't know. I was just, saying the words to the song and just whatever. But it was beautiful. And
Where
like
are
you said, we
going?
came home and you kind of,
Hey. Yeah.
what's she saying?
She said,
Oh. So she wants a
Mm.
motorcycle already. So, but we, coming home and not having, I know it's funny because you say the whole, oh, well, what do we do? Oh, what is it?
she's just being squirmy. She
Oh.
wants the blanket off her face.
Oh, can I hold her?
Sure.
Okay. We'll wait for you to adjust. Should we get her another
So you
card
got
or
it,
you
yeah.
good?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay, we're good. Oh, he's going to cut to me. Very smart, Dave.
Good.
Okay.
There you go.
Ooh, I love holding the baby.
What are you doing? You're making funny sounds.
Oh, let's go ahead. Oh, hi. Hi. Hi, beautiful. How are you? Oh, yeah. I was just thinking the same thing. Pizza. Yeah, you're too small for pizza. Yeah. She's so perfect. My kid is cuter than your kid.
You're supposed to say that.
Am I? I don't care. So, I mean, rate it. Give me your rundown on before we get into the post, because I know everybody's, we've disappeared for a couple weeks, but like, get me into what's your, if you had to rate this, if you had to say recommendations, if you could do something differently. Only thing I would do differently is that I wanted to make 3 t-shirts, and one would say Ma, because that's you're the Ma. And then we have the doula. And then I just wanted to get a rectangular gata. That's me. So we'd be the brain trust, the medulla oblongata. But it'd be an oblongata. I wanted to do that so badly, and I couldn't
He
find
found
a
a
t-shirt.
t-shirt shop. Ooh.
But we were just past the time we could get it.
Yeah.
Oh. The matching whistles and headbands were probably enough. But yeah. Hi. So yeah, I mean, would you do anything differently? Would you, I mean, do you feel like you started on the right track, right on the right time? Kind of.
I mean, I can't think of anything I would have done differently or want to, but I think this experience was what we wanted with our last baby. It was like everything that we wanted but didn't get.
Right, because we were trying to do that.
Yeah.
Like Zev was supposed to. So Dr. Zelenko, before he passed, who's was supposed to, and his cancer took a turn for the worse, and he couldn't. But that was what we wanted.
Yep.
We wanted the only reason we wanted a doctor there was because we could someone we trusted.
Yeah.
But what?
You can hear her in the microphone.
You can hear in the microphone.
Yeah.
You talking?
Yeah, I don't think I would have done anything differently. I think that was exactly what we wanted. And then after our last experience, I think it was exactly what we needed.
So then we go home, and it's great because you get a couple weeks where they tell you to stay in bed. Why? I love this. I'm sorry, this is the coolest part of this. Bless you.
What? I don't get it.
Because your organs have to move back into place.
Yeah, did you not know that?
No, because
It's like there's a human in here, and then all of a sudden it's empty.
What's the difference between this and every other time you've left?
They don't give you any. They tell you to take it easy, and
They
that's
take
it.
easy,
And then
they
you
tell
go
to buy
home.
that band or to put around your waist.
Yeah,
Yeah, to tighten. In other words, go back to your life
Yeah.
and squeeze your organs back in with this corset from the 1700s.
It's not from the
Right.
1700s. It's Velcro.
And when
Okay.
you're done with this, you can go to the St. Louis World's Fair. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's it. But that's what they hand you. And oh, hello.
They don't give you,
They don't
they
explain
don't
what your
tell
body's
you
doing.
to take care of yourself.
They don't even tell you what your body's doing. Because remember, they don't want if they want it to be a mystery. It feels like the Catholic Church before they allowed everybody to read the Bible. You know, they're like, it's in Latin. Good luck with that. You know what I mean? And doctors come in and they're like, she's pregnant, miss. What? She's pregnant. We use Latin around here. Like, why? What's a clotulus? I don't even know. Oh, she wants mom. Got this sad face. Okay, I don't mind. I do not produce the same pheromones. But oh man, I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, but they don't tell you because they want it to be this mystery, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
what it
feel
feels
like it's just expected. Like, okay, you left the hospital, so now you're good to go. Like,
You gotta follow up with your
walk
doctor.
about the house, do your normal stuff.
Yeah, like here's a.
Don't lift anything heavy. That's like the only thing.
But they
tell
don't
you.
explain why. Like
Right.
when I had my hip replacement, every aspect of that was explained to me. This is what's going to be happening to your body. This is why you're going to do this. This is what it's going to feel like. You're going to have phantom issue, blah, 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 right? What do they do for you when you leave the hospital? They talk to you like you have a wound, but they don't talk to you about what happened. Why? Because they didn't tell you beforehand. They go through the stages of the baby, but they don't really go through the stages of the mom. And they especially don't go through the stages from labor to delivery. We never sat there and had the ping pong ball with the balloon in the hospital.
Yeah. Well,
Well-
and we've done classes and stuff, and they didn't
Right.
go
But I mean,
over
like
that.
basic stuff, like how to keep how to keep a woman from tearing, what she can do. Like there's so many things that your body naturally wants to do that they force, and it almost feels like they, oh,
Still hungry.
is that what it is? Are you able to do this without pausing, or do you want us to pause it?
Let's just see if this will work.
Okay,
That might
So-
be good enough.
it might be.
Maybe.
This is not going to be like our show from now on, but you know what? We wanted to bring the baby on and show her off a little bit. Yeah. But my point is that it's because they skip that whole stage, they never get into the part of like, for example, your body moved all these body parts to make room for the baby. And there's also space there now. So you had a weird thing said to me. And I'm not going to try and, but you were telling me and you said it and it was just such a like click. Oh my goodness. You were laying in bed and you had rolled over to feed the baby on your side and you were side feeding. And then you rolled back over and you were like, oh, give me a second. And I said, what? Like, you know, do you need something? Let's be fair. I brought you all your meals in bed. I took care of you. I'm not trying to sound like I wasn't like, yo, what are you doing? Get up.
No, I know. I just
But
think
you-
it's funny you're sharing this story.
Yeah, but you rolled over and you were like, hold on, give me a minute. And I'm like, what is it? You're like, I have to let my organs settle. And I was like, why?
Because my uterus is on the left side of my body.
Right. It had moved. It was like,
let
hey,
me recenter.
because you had rolled to one side and you had to let it go. And I just thought, what? What happened to
You
your...
could see it.
Yeah, I was like, what-
Everything had shifted. It was so
I
weird.
was like, where's your kidneys? You know, I was like, what do we have to...
They're
lock-
good.
Do I
They're
need to
good.
hug you so your lungs don't slide down? What's going on here? Is that what your rib cage is for? So quickly understand anatomy. But I didn't... all I knew is that you were just like, oh, this stuff is sloshing around in there. That's not good. And you're like, no, it's normal. Yeah, it's normal. I'm like, nope. If I ever rolled over on my side and rolled back and said, oh, my stomach's going back in place, I would probably think that's bad. Oh, look, my intestines are in my thigh. Give me a second. There we go. It happens, you know. So that's kind of so I don't eat cheese. But it's one of those things where you're just like, hey, I thought that was so cool. And what I mean by that is you were aware and knew, but never in your pregnancies before had you ever sat there and said, you would say, stuff is, got to go back into place when you would tighten up your 1840s, figure McDoer. But you never, aside from having a more attractive silhouette, I never understood what the purpose was, right? And now, I mean, I understood it in a generic term. But after we go through all of that stuff where it's like, oh, and in the last 9 hours, this is the stuff your body does. And you're like, oh, whoa, that's as much stuff that happened in the last 9 weeks. It really, and just like, I don't know. It's like trying to launch a rocket. And at the end, everyone's like, oh, don't forget to hit the unlocking assembly. You're like, what's that? It's like 1 step. Oh, no, there's 46 more steps. You guys didn't hit that booster already, did you? And so it's you go through and there's just all these things that you learn that your body does. And of course that changes the aftercare, but in particular, it to me makes the whole concept of childbirth. I already told you, like, this is an insane fact. Because she is already born with her ovaries intact. And because every egg she will ever make is already in those ovaries, if she were to bear children, you carried your grandchildren.
Yep.
Right. It's a symbiotic.
At least part of them.
Right. It's a half of them. Yeah. That's weird. Like tadpoles, they started coming out as babies. Be like, yeah, sure. We've already heard that story once. Only one person gets to use that. So it's, one of those things where, I don't know. It's just everything about it. It's about understanding about the phases of how your body lactates and when they're first born, the changes that your body is already acknowledging, the little things that happen within the baby. And I feel so much more connected to all of that. And for some reason, like you said, there's that initial panic. It really was it wasn't a panic, but we really did set up and just like, should we be seeing a doctor right now?
Yeah. Like no one's told us what to do.
Right. I mean, we have 4 other kids, but should we just give this one some Cheerios and put it in front of a board game? Right. That's what we do with the other ones. But give it a crayon. She does amazing work so far. But Tempest has learned to color her legs, so that's good.
Yeah, and her lips.
We have a little blue child running around occasionally. Yep. One day she'll overthrow Odin. But but there's this so weird. But there's this whole I don't know, it just everything feels more connected. And because it feels so much more, just every part of it, it feels so much less panicky. So after that initial, oh my goodness, where's the doctor? You're just like, oh. I kind of, now that I know so much more about it, because we were so involved in not only the pregnancy, but understanding everything that was happening. Like I don't feel the need to call the doctor every time your organs slosh around. Right? Just like, that's normal. Right? I mean, it's just easier this way. Like, I think my heart is in my hip. I'm like, don't worry. Things will
Don't worry,
move
we've
back.
done this before.
Yeah. In an emergency, we have a corset. So don't worry. We'll set you up. But it feels empowering.
Mm-hmm.
I feel empowered as a parent. As a husband.
And you didn't even do the work.
I didn't. That is 100% true. But I did everything I believe I could.
But I'm saying if the
but I
experience
mean, now you can tell people that I was not a jerk.
Empowering to you, imagine what that feels like for me.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, because now that we're finally streaming this out on X and I've officially looked at my demographics, I realized that I do not need my audience to think in any way that I am a jerk. I just want to make sure I did my part, right?
You did, but you can't do the physical part.
No.
You're not a seahorse.
Yes.
So,
Yes. But
sorry.
there are only two genders, and I'm the other one. I'm the one that doesn't make babies.
The one with useless nipples.
Yes. That is exactly how I describe people. Officer, we were just held up. It was a useless nippled, brown haired, about 5'10", and he had a blonde useful nipple with him. She was about 5'6", and angry. I don't know why that would. I'm gonna start doing that right now. What's up, useless nipples? Hey, useless nipples. When you put this card in earlier, make sure that it's correct. Okay. I don't want useful nipples to get all mad at me. There we go.
Oh, my laughing put her to sleep.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Good.
Rocked her to sleep.
Is that because that's what we used to do? She's like, I'm just used to the laughing all the time. When did we get all stoic in here? She's like, somebody put on House of Dragons. I heard it's cut. It sucks. Yeah. So I mean, it's, and then we go into this stage now where we're gonna go find we have one picked out. And go to pediatrician, make sure the heart and everything are okay. But I mean, I couldn't be any happier with our decision.
It felt like a whole experience, for lack of a better word. Not like, I don't know. That's a weird way to describe it. Maybe.
No, but I get you. No, it's parceled out because
Yeah.
because when you go to your OB and then your prenatal care and then you go to a hospital where you meet new people, and that's unless they go off shift.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody was leaving. Medulla oblongata was staying there, okay?
Yeah, they were there
Our
with
brain
us till
trust was
3 in
there.
the morning.
Yep. They didn't leave
No.
when you took a nap. They stayed there. And there was never any question, like, that was it. Those were our people.
Yep.
I mean, there was the risk of if the doula was busy with somebody else that we might have got. But in the end, they weren't,
Right.
I mean, the statistical odds of us giving birth at the same exact time that you needed, But it was amazing. And I really feel like it's one of those things that if I wish we had. Interestingly enough, our the pregnancy with Tempest was broken up by the fact that I was geographically separated from you. You were down here in Texas. I was still stationed up in DC. And, on top of that,
Having morning sickness, trying to get our oldest to school and take the 2 boys.
to their medical appointments because they could finally see doctors.
But just like getting them up when
Oh,
I had
yeah.
to take her to school because I didn't have anyone here to watch them. Like,
Right. But we could also go
while
see a
also,
dermatologist. Yeah.
having my head stuck in the toilet was just.
Yeah, it was difficult. But on top of that, we just never, by the time we had locked everything in, it was, and again, I ran for Congress, so I was all over the place. So by the time we got to the point where the baby, it was just, we never, because of the changes, because Ev's health went down and all of those things, but we never were able to sort of get situated. And so that experience never got to happen. And instead we had the exact opposite experience.
Yeah.
We had probably about one of the worst experiences you can have. And, I think that beyond being a healing experience for us, I think that the impact this is going to have on our family, because it allows us not to wipe the slate clean, but to, that thing where you kind of, you experience pain and you don't really remember it the same way you remember happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But that pain never went away.
Right.
And I feel like finally now it gets to fade away. I mean, it'll always be there, but it gets to fade away like my hip surgery.
Yeah.
Like my shoulder surgery. Like my other hip surgery. I think you get the point. It will fade away.
Well, because there wasn't any closure.
Yeah.
There was no fix to our last situation at the hospital. So there was really no way to get over that.
Yeah, because that was more of an escape. Like we just felt blessed to have the allies and the friends that we needed to be able to to escape from that situation.
Right.
And afterwards, just counted our blessings, if you will, and tried to find a way to pay it forward. And there was really no way. We tried, but no one would even address it. Right.
Right.
So I'm not going to get into that. But the point is that I just feel so differently now. You know,
Mhm.
I feel like, hey, we're at a point, and I love this baby just as much as every one of our other babies. And she's so beautiful. And you did such a great job. And this is not our normal show. We don't normally sit around and just talk about some event and in somewhat gross detail. So what are you laughing at? You're the ones with the organs that are shifting. But and just throwing away perfectly good ones. But anyway, but we did want to take some time and kind of share with everybody like what we went through, what happened. When we came back, we told everybody we would have the baby. So, oh, she smiled. But I know it's just gas, but still. But we are,
No, she laughs.
does she?
Yeah. You've never heard her laugh in her sleep?
What's she laughing at?
Uh-huh.
Huh. Maybe just used to mom laughing all the time.
Maybe.
Huh. That's cute. I haven't heard that. She sleeps on the other side. I don't hear her.
Yeah, you can't hear things from the other side of the bed.
No. Not in
Found
this
that
ear.
out with our first child.
Yeah, but it's this ear. Yeah, I can't help it. Yeah. So anyway, but we looking forward to coming back. We're going to be on X, and we're going to be, on X now. So that's great. So 7 p.m. So if you want to tune in, just hit the repost and like button, and we have a lot of fun on this show, and we do a lot of other things that we talk about. But like I said, we wanted to do a welcome back with the baby. So yeah, looking forward to it. We'll see you all tomorrow.